Hi, I'm Rob. I'm going to be doing a little bit of physics, and in fact it's the physics of sound. But I'm going to start with biology because hearing is how we know there's sounds. And of course we hear with our eardrum. This is not an eardrum, this is just a drum. But what happens when we hear a sound is that a sound is made, and the way I'm going to make that sound is to strike this drum, and it will send out waves. And those waves hit your ear or enter your ear canal, touch your eardrum, and start a vibration. And here I'll create that sound. That's a drum sound. Now you might be able to hear, in fact, that some of the walls around us are vibrating. But I want to demonstrate something, and I'm going to use a volunteer. Jethro? Jethro's my volunteer. I've got another drum here. Jethro's going to put his hand, can you just stand back here with me, mate? And Jethro's going to put his fingers gently on the skin of this drum. And can you turn it that way a little bit? And I'm going to hit this drum, and really what I'm hoping is that Jethro will be able to feel the vibration from this drum, just like his eardrum is feeling the vibration.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, I can hear it.
Yeah?
I can feel it.
You can feel it and hear it.
Yeah.
So obviously our eardrum is much smaller than this, but that's what happens. And then of course we've got all these little bones that connect to nerves that send the signal to our brain. But that's how our eardrum works. I've got this drum that Jethro used before, sensing the sound of the other drum. Now this drum's a special drum. It's called a talking drum. And the reason it's called a talking drum is because the frequency can change. It can talk. It can play more than one note. It's from Africa, and its basic note is this. But if I squeeze these strings with my arm, I can raise the frequency. The tighter the skin gets, the higher the frequency. As I let it go, the frequency goes down. Frequency is basically about waveforms. So when this is tight, I make a frequency which is, you can see it on an oscilloscope. When it's a high note, it's a shorter wavelength. When it's a low note, it's a longer wavelength. Long wavelength, short wavelength, really short wavelength. That's frequency. Here I am again with another assistant. This is Isaac. Isaac's holding my phone, and on my phone is an app with an oscilloscope. Now what an oscilloscope does is that it measures and graphically represents the frequencies. So I'm going to play different frequencies on my flute, and we get to see the different wavelengths represented on the oscilloscope. Here's something I found on the internet. It's a frequency test, and it's got a great oscilloscope in it, and yeah, it goes through all the spectrum of the human hearing and even beyond. Check it out. This is frequency with an oscilloscope. See how the waves are getting shorter? Getting shorter as it gets higher. They get really close together, and it's getting really high. And to check the range of your hearing, when you can't hear it anymore, you've gone beyond the range of your hearing. Really short, you can hardly see the difference between the waves. Still hear it? tea chest base. Well, it's not actually a tea chest. They're old boxes that used to be made to carry tea. I had to make one because you can't get them anymore. Now, it is a base, but it's just made with a broomstick and a big piece of thick fishing line. Or this is actually whippersnipper line. Now, the thing with this, the way I change the notes in this is that I put more tension onto this string. There's a couple of ways I can do that. I can bring the broomstick back and it makes the string tighter. So it's loose, really loose, quite tight. Or the other thing I can do is use my finger here. And what I'm doing is effectively shortening the string, but also making it a little bit tighter. Now, the great thing about this green string is that you can see the vibration. Let's come in and have a closer look. This is a banjo. Banjo is an interesting thing because it's kind of like a drum. It's got a skin, a bit like your eardrum. And this is the resonating part of the banjo. In fact, this is called the resonator. Now what happens is the strings are strung across this bridge here so that when I pluck a string, the resonation goes through the bridge and makes the drum move. And that's why banjos are so loud. But we're not here to listen to a banjo. What we're here to do is learn about frequency. Now, a banjo, for example, has strings on it that are at a certain tension. And we know that higher tension creates higher notes. So when I'm tuning a banjo, I will create more tension if I want the note to go higher or the string to go higher. I'm going lower now by loosening it. Going higher by tightening it. Now there's another way in stringed instruments to make the sound go higher, and that is to use the frets. And that's shortening the string makes the frequency go up. So it's a really short string, really high tone, same string, long string, low, 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 low. High. So that's how string tension and string length changes frequency. Okay, what I've got here is pieces of garden pipe. It's called polypipe or polypipe is what they call it. And I like to make these things called polywackas. And basically you whack them like this. And it makes a sound. It's not a bad sound, it's a percussive sound. Now, I've got a short one and a long one. Can you guess what sound the long one will make compared to the short one? Will it be lower or higher? Remember with our strings, longer string, lower. On the banjo, lower. Let's see. Definitely lower. Now, of course, you can adjust these guys and make them any length you want. Just get my handy secateurs here, and I'm going to make a shorter one. Just cut this. Pretty easy to cut. And see what sound I've got now. Oh, I've got more or less 3 different sizes. Now, if you want to go to a lot of trouble, you can get an app on your phone that has a tuner on it, and you can cut these to the length, tune length, and you can play tunes with it. You'll need more than one person probably, but I can play. Or I can even hit them together and then I get 2 notes at once. Pretty cool. So they're polywackas. Now, I've got heaps of this lying around in my garden. One should be very low. So they're a lot of fun to play with. A great way to play with frequency, all you need to do is cut them different lengths, see what sounds you get from them, and you can make your own music. Very simple. I think that's the end of our little frequency video. Thanks very much for joining me.